Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
I want to start off by going over the newest filing in the Ripple SEC case. Ripple responds to the SEC's motions regarding the redactions and whether or not these redactions were in line with what was allowed from the SEC. Now, the court was allowed to see an unredacted version, so Ripple was going to the court and saying, hey, were these redactions by the SEC in line with what should be expected? So what's pretty interesting about this is that the court actually has unredacted versions of these documents. I saw a couple different lawyers on Twitter going back and forth on this, but now we have proof that the courts have seen unredacted versions of most of the SEC documents. This is actually very significant because this shows that the SEC likely would not dare go to summary judgment. If the court is seeing all these unredacted documents and all these incredibly sketchy things the SEC is trying to hide, I doubt the SEC would dare allow the court to make a summary judgment decision on whether or not the SEC had a valid case in saying Ripple should have known in the entire 8 years they were selling XRP that the entire time it was a security. It's very likely in these redacted documents, the SEC themselves said that XRP was not a security, so this just makes me more confident than ever that this case will likely end in a settlement, and in my opinion, it could happen any week now. I wanted to quickly read to you what Ashley Prosper had to say about this. She's been covering this case and has been on the ball. She said, these notes here are not as important as the Hinman email drafts. That's the big fish Ripple is after. Next date to watch, April 8th. That's when Brad and Chris need to file a reply to the SEC's complaint against them. I'm hoping the DPP decision is released tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure where she's getting this from, but that would be super interesting if we had this DPP decision tomorrow, because we know that this is what's going to drive the SEC to end this thing. If they are forced to hand over the Hinman emails, there is no doubt in my mind they are not going to be willing to risk taking this thing much further. I believe this is when the settlement talks really start, so I cannot wait to see this DPP decision, and I don't believe realistically there is any way this DPP decision does not end in Ripple's favor. Let's keep moving though. This was huge today. It looks like Gary Gensler is starting to be affected by all the pushback that has been coming his way, and I have a feeling things are really going to start to turn around in Gary Gensler's public statements regarding how much power the SEC should have over the crypto industry. Just today out of Bloomberg Crypto, SEC Chair Gary Gensler said his agency and the top US derivatives regulator, the CFTC, should work together to rein in the cryptocurrency exchanges, and digital asset investor said, looks like Gary has finally been humbled. That is because this entire time, Gary Gensler has been saying the exchanges are under the SEC jurisdiction, and now he's begging the CFTC for help. I think it has to do with the fact that people are starting to tell him, look, no one gave you the authority to take over these exchanges, so now he's trying to leverage the power of the CFTC to help him out, and I think it shows that people are not giving in to his absolute power trip over this industry. John Deaton weighs in on this too. He said, let me make this an easy one. The SEC Gov has jurisdiction over pure ICOs like Telegram, public crowdfunding that pools the money to build out the technology. The CFTC has jurisdiction over existing technologies that have publicly traded for the last 5 years or more. This is perfect by John Deaton, and this is how simple it can be. Sales of new tokens that are used to build out a technology are securities. That's well established. But crypto tokens trading in a decentralized way in the market today are in no way securities, and Gary Gensler should not have jurisdiction over this. I believe this general idea is the best way the US could put all these stupid debates on what's a security and what's a commodity to rest once and for all. Make it nice and simple. You sell a token and use it to build out your blockchain, the sale of that token is a securities offering, and you have to register with the SEC to make sure what you're building isn't some complete scam and you're just stealing money for people. But once your token is traded in the market for a sufficient amount of time, is sufficiently decentralized, well, all the aspects of a security offering are completely gone, and the SEC trying to monitor every single sale does not make any sense. At that point, the token is a commodity, and this is the most clear-cut, obvious, non-biased way that you could push this regulation forward. This tweet by John Dean, if put into action, would create so much more clarity than the SEC ever has, and that is just so embarrassing that this idea is so hard for people to get through their head. John Dean tweeted out, he said the SEC's conduct, inconsistency, and lack of clarity in its attempt to pick winners and losers within the crypto space should bar it from having any jurisdiction over crypto assets moving forward. And Brian Quintez, a former CFTC official, actually responded to him. He said, I agree. It's one thing to exercise statutory authority. It's another to manipulate statutory ambiguity and then hide behind deliberative process privilege to exert control and harm over the very people an agency should protect. Boom. That is hurtful to Gary Gensler, SEC. This guy is literally saying that the SEC is acting in such a manipulative and sketchy way and simply using regulatory uncertainty to throw its power around and pretty much exhort these cryptocurrency companies for money. Brian Quintez is all over it. This is why I believe the CFTC should have the power, because this entire time cryptocurrencies have traded, all the SEC has done is prove that they are not willing to do anything to help the cryptocurrency industry advance to the potential we all know it can have. Last of all, guys, I really wanted to show you this tweet thread right here. This is by notfinancialadvice.crypto. This has to do with linking Ripple directly to two of the most powerful organizations in the entire world, the World Economic Forum and the United Nations. Now, I was going to go through this whole tweet thread, but it was so hard to do without messing it up like 15 times. Make sure you go to my Twitter and check this out. But he says, I dug way too deep and now fully believe this photo Ripple uses in ISO 20022, shaping the future of cross-border payments, reveals a hidden message linking between XRP and a massive global agenda. And he posts this picture right here, and it says shaping the future of cross-border payments. And if we scroll through this a little, he says that he's been doing a ton of research on the Sustainable Development Goals, which these are put out by the United Nations, I believe. And the United Nations also started developing an exchange called Exchange that is looking to put carbon credits on the XRP ledger. So already we see that United Nations is already kind of working with Ripple, and if we keep on scrolling through here, he points out this messaging right here. So he says, we know XRP is a chosen crypto for these Sustainable Development Goals, and that Ripple will play a role in achieving them. But what goals specifically? I believe this photo in this thread may have the answer. The most important goal, Standard Development Goal number 17, partnerships for the goals. And if we take a look at this box, we can see that it's actually the same color as the last shipping crate Ripple is putting into this massive box of shipping containers. So if that wasn't a coincidence enough for you, that partnerships and goals, this purple, blue color, the same exact color as this crate, both the last step in creating this new messaging standard for a future financial system, this guy took it to a whole new level. He reverse engineered the image and found out that the person who actually created this picture right here is the same person who does all the artwork for the UN and the WEF. He says, this makes me feel almost certain that Ripple and XRP are going to be a key part in creating a brand new financial system backed at the powers that be that will transform the entire world. I thought it was so cool that this guy was able to put all this together, and while I was skeptical at first, the more I look over this tweet thread, the more I believe there is no way this is a coincidence, and Ripple has actually been hinting this entire time that they are working with the most powerful organizations in the entire world to build a new financial system based on the Ripple protocol and XRP.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.